Hello, guys. Hey, everyone. I hope you all are doing well. Welcome to Ask IITians. This is lecture number 3 of Quadrilaterals, right? So, in the previous classes, we have talked about polygons, we have talked about what are quadrilaterals, and we had seen some properties of trapezium in the last class and discussed some good questions as well. So, in the today's class, we would be continuing this chapter, right? And these are the topics which we would be covering in today's class, that is special parallelograms, rhombus and its properties, rectangle and its properties. These are the things which we are going to cover in today's class, right? So let's start. The first thing is special parallelograms. Now what do we mean by special parallelograms? Before we talk about special parallelograms, let's recall what were parallelograms. So I hope you all remember that parallelogram is a quadrilateral again with opposite sides as parallel and equal, right? So if ABCD is a parallelogram, then its opposite sides are equal and they are parallel. Also, we remember that opposite angles of a parallelogram are equal, and opposite angles are equal and adjacent angles of a parallelogram are supplementary. These were the few important properties which we talked about in the previous class. So now what are the special parallelograms, right? So the opposite sides are parallel and equal in length, we already know. So some special parallelograms are rhombus, rectangle and a square. Okay. So in the last class we had talked about like what are the properties of square, what are the types of quadrilaterals we had seen a chart which involves like all the important properties of square, trapezium, rhombus, rectangle, kite and all of that. So today we would be discussing about rhombus, rectangle and square. So let's first take up a square. Let's recall what was a square. A square was a quadrilateral. A square is a quadrilateral with all four sides equal. A square is a quadrilateral, or we can also say a square is a parallelogram. Parallelogram PQRS with all four sides equal in length and all angles as 90 degrees, with all four sides equal in length and all angles as 90 degrees, right? So these are the important properties of a square, right? And if we are talking about, let's say the side of the square is a, the side of the square is a, then its area would be a into a times the length and a times the width, because as we say that side of a square is a, so we know that all sides in a square are equal, therefore its area would be a into a, that is a square, right? Area of a square is a square. Similarly, when you're talking about perimeter, so let's recall what was perimeter. Perimeter is basically the outer boundary of the square. Perimeter is the outer boundary of the square, right? So outer boundary means the length of all the sides when added together. So you would say perimeter is nothing but PQ, length of PQ plus QR plus RS plus PS. So we know each side is of length A, therefore perimeter would be 4 times A, right? 4A. So these are the some important properties and formulas of square. These are the formulas which we have to remember of a square. Now let's try to solve this question, right? So we would say that find the area, perimeter and length of diagonal of a square of side 6 centimeters. So if this is a square PQRS, its side is 6 centimeter. Okay. So we are interested in finding first its area. So we would say area to बहुत simple है. It's just side square, right? Area of a square is equal to a square. So this would be 6 square. This would nothing but 36 centimeter. Similarly, perimeter of square. Perimeter of square would be here 4 into side, that is 4a, which is 4 into 6, which is 24 centimeter. right? Acha, area would be 36 centimeter square, and this would be 24 centimeter, right? Now, the very interesting thing is we have to find a length of diagonal, right? What do we mean by diagonal? So we would say diagonal is PR. Diagonal of a square, we can say there are two diagonals. One is PR, other one is QS, right? So PR का length अगर हमें चाहिए, so we would say consider triangle, in triangle PQR. We know all sides or all angles of a square are right angles, right? So in triangle PQR, measure angle PQR is equal to 90 degrees. What is the reason? Angle of a square, right? Angle of a square. Each angle of a square is 90 degrees, right? So now, which means in this triangle, we can use Pythagoras theorem, right? We all have studied what is Pythagoras theorem. So you would say by Pythagoras theorem, PR square would be equal to PQ square plus QR square, right? So PQ is just 6, so 6 square, and also we know QR is also the side of the square, which is 6 square, right? So because PR is the hypotenuse in triangle PQR, now since we can clearly see that 6 square plus 6 square gives us 2 times 6 square, right? Therefore it implies that PR will be equal to square root of 2 times 6 square. Now when this comes out of the root, we would say the length of PR is nothing but 6 root 2, right? The length of PR is 6 root 2 centimeter, which is nothing but the diagonal of PR, diagonal of the square, right? So this is very interesting and important to understand that how do we find length of diagonal, and always we can remember the formula that diagonal of a square is equal to root 2 into side of the square, root 2 into side of square, ठीक है? क्योंकि side of square तो same ही है, right? 6 6 6 6, so इसीलिए diagonal of a square is root 2 into side, it's always right. So we know area, now we know perimeter, now we know diagonal of the square. So we know all, we have found all three answers, 36, 24, and 6 root 2, right? Now, yeah, these are the answers, 6 root 2. So when you can substitute like maybe root 2 as 1.414, then you will get this answer. So root 2 is 1.414 units. Root 2 is an irrational number, na? So it keeps on going. It's a non-terminating, non-recurring decimal number. But we can express this in terms of first three digits after the decimal as 1.414. And you can substitute and get the answer as this. Right. Now, after square, let's come to rhombus. Okay. Rhombus is a quadrilateral. Yes, rhombus is a quadrilateral. You can also be more specific, saying that a rhombus is a parallelogram also. Okay, rhombus is a parallelogram with all four sides having equal length. This is a very important property because there are not many major differences between square and rhombus, but there are some important and crucial differences between a square and a rhombus, right? So, and there are also similarities between square and a rhombus. So the first similarity is all sides are equal in a square as well, in a rhombus as well. Okay. Now, the second important property is diagonals are perpendicular bisectors of each other. Now, this is also same. This is also true in case of a square. That is, diagonals were perpendicular bisectors. That is, they used to bisect each other at right angles. Now, if you'll recall, the same property was true in rectangles or in squares also. right? So which means BO is equal to DO and AO is equal to CO. These are the important results. Also, angles meet at right angles, which means angle AOD is equal to angle BOC. Right, angle AOD is equal to angle BOC because they bisect each other at 90 degrees. Third, each diagonal is the angle bisector of both the opposite angles. Each diagonal is the angle bisector, which means AC or AO bisects angle A. AO or AC bisects angle A, right? And DO also bisects angle D. Similarly, BO and CO, they also are bisectors of angle B and angle C respectively. So each, you can say, angle is bisected, right? So these are the symbols, that is they are bisectors. Next, every rhombus is a parallelogram and a kite with all sides of equal length. So this is just a statement which you can say every rhombus is a parallelogram. Yes, and also every rhombus is a kite. क्योंकि kite क्या होता है ना, kite is a specific case. Now if you all can just imagine, just rotate your, not the system, but rotate your neck by some maybe 30 degrees or something, and you all can see this as a kite, right? You all can see this ABCD as a kite, but in this is a specific kite which has all sides of equal length. In a kite only the adjacent sides are equal, but in a rhombus all sides are equal, which means ये एक symmetric kite है. So rhombus is a symmetric kite, right? Secondly, this is a very important formula, that is area of a rhombus is half into d1 into d2. This can be derived just by saying divide the rhombus into two equal triangles. Area of one triangle is half into base into height. Area of other triangle is also half into base into height. And then you just add them, right? So this is how we mean. So we can see this derivation like area of rhombus, and here the rhombus is ABCD, right? Area of rhombus ABCD is equal to area of triangle ABC plus area of triangle ADC, right? If we say that length of, let's say length of AC is a diagonal, let that length be D1, right? Similarly, length of BD, which is also a diagonal, let that be D2, right? So area of triangle ABC. So ABC is a right angle, not a right angle triangle, but its base is known to us and its height is also known to us, which should be half into C. ABC means half into base, which is AC, and height, which is BO, right? Plus area of triangle ADC, it will have base as again AC and height as DO, right? B Bombay, D Delhi. So half into AC is your D1, right? Half it D1, and BO is your D2 by 2, right? Because entire BD is D2 or BO is the bisector na, मतलब BO is आधा and DO is आधा, plus half into again D1 into DO is D2 by 2. Now if you add them you get half into, so basically double this. So when you multiply it you get to know that this half into 2 will get cancelled and you get half d1 d2. This is the area of rhombus. Area of rhombus is half into d1 into d2, where d1 and d2 are lengths of diagonals. d1 and d2 are lengths of diagonals. Okay. Then similarly, as in a square, we said that perimeter is 4a. Rhombus maybe perimeter will be 4a because each side is of length a. Each side is of length a units. Okay. Yeah. So I hope this is clear now and you all understood that how did we get the formulas for area of a rhombus, perimeter of a rhombus, and what are the properties of rhombus. right? So now let's quickly solve this question. So it says two diagonals of length d1 and d2 are respectively this, find its area. So we would say area of rhombus is equal to half into d1 into d2, right? So this is your half into d1 is 6, d2 is 12. So 2 ones are 2, 6 are. So this is just 36 centimeters square. This is the area, right? 36 centimeters square. Correct. Let's now talk about another special parallelogram, that is a rectangle. So we'll say rectangle is a parallelogram with all four angles having equal measure, right? So all angles in a rectangle are right angles. Opposite sides are equal in a rectangle, right? All angles in a rectangle are right angles and opposite sides are equal. So opposite sides means AD is equal to BC, right? Diagonals are congruent and bisect each other, right? Which means AO equal to CO, BO equal to DO, and they are also congruent. That is, length of AC is equal to length of BD, right? Also, every rectangle is a parallelogram with at least one right angle. Correct. So parallelogram may we know if one angle is 90 degree, all four angles are 90 degree, right? Again, when you talk about its length, so if we are saying that length of a parallelogram is A units and its breadth is B units, then its area would be A into B, right? L into B. Perimeter of a rectangle is its boundary, that is 2 times A plus B here, because there would be two lengths and two breadths. So you can simply add all the sides, right? So we know, and this is very simple to understand because area is two dimensions, it's length times breadth, then you get the entire area of this, right? Correct. So we now know what is a property of rectangle, square and a rhombus, what are the formulas, right? So let's quickly solve one more question based on this. It says if length and the breadth of the rectangle 8 and 5, find its area and perimeter. Quite simple question, right? So let's see that. It says area of a rectangle is L into B, which is 8 into 5. So this is just 40 centimeters square. Whereas its perimeter would be perimeter of rectangle is 2 times length plus breadth. So it's 2 times 8 plus 5, which is 2 times 13, which is nothing but 26 centimeter. Right, 26 centimeter. So this is a very simple question, right? 26 centimeter. So now I hope you all have understood this lecture and you have got a glimpse of the properties and formulas of square, rectangle and a rhombus. So there are some practice questions for you all to solve. You can solve them like diagonal of a square is given, you have to find its area, and the diagonal of a rhombus is given, its area is given, and you have to find the length of other diagonal. So you can also do that thing, and also rectangle. So these are very simple questions, you all can give it a try and solve them, and then we can discuss the solutions in the next class, right? So till then, like stay safe, and during this pandemic you can take care, so that it's very important, take the necessary precautions. Okay, so till then keep learning from askIITians, and thank you very much.